We do not. We have a clerk today, but she's taking notes online. Is that correct, David?
It is. Becky, are you with us?
Yep. Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had to find the mute button again.
All right.
I am here.
Well, Becky, I don't know if you can see us, but we do have a quorum, so please note that for the record. We'll begin, as always, with the review and approval of the minutes of our last meeting. Members of the commission, we've all had a chance to review those. What is your pleasure?
I move we approve the minutes as submitted.
Second. Motion second. Any discussion? Members of the commission, anyone in the audience wish to address the minutes for our last meeting? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's move on to old business. Oh, old business is next on our agenda. David, we don't have old business in particular consisting of that pool on South Troy, was it? Or no, it was on
Coral Avenue.
Coral.
Correct. No application materials were received. I did talk to the homeowner. They are planning to make application at the December meeting. So we are holding them to that requirement that they need to include the fencing before the pool can be put into use.
Their conditional use was approved, I presume, last month?
Correct. It was
council.
approved at council last month.
All right, well, we'll look for that next month. Move on to new business then. The first request is that of the Village of Glendale for a demolition at 65 Coral Avenue. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Well, I guess
I
that.
will defer to our administrator, Mr. Lumsden, on that matter.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So yes, as you can see in the packet of materials provided, this application is more of a preemptive measure. We are anticipating, following an order of demolition from the village's building inspector, that the current owner and maintainer of that property, the mortgage holder, will perform that demolition. They've been informed that they need to come to Planning Commission, that they need to obtain a building permit to do that work. There is the outside possibility that they may decide not to do that, which would ultimately bring the responsibility to the village itself to perform that demolition. So the purpose of the application here tonight is to get Planning Commission approval for the act of demolition, and then we'll pursue a building permit through the village and ultimately demolition if it's not performed by the current mortgage holder.
Some work has been done there recently.
Correct. Some brush clearing was performed the last few weeks, but ultimately the requirements were pertaining to the actual structure of the property, and those weren't met by the decision of our building inspector.
Okay.
David, I don't have the zoning code in front of me, but if I recall correctly, one of our criteria for demolition or appropriateness to allow demolition is an appropriate order from the building official here in the village, and that's attached to the application. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I haven't had a chance to read it, but essentially he is saying it's a point of beyond the point of repair.
Correct.
Yeah, it is. I've seen it.
I think we've all seen it through the
No, I've
shrubs.
been through it
Have you been through it? You agree with
a
it?
number of years ago. They wanted me to buy it.
It hasn't gotten any better, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right. I know this has been a point of discussion around the village. So, anything else to add, David?
No.
Members of the commission, questions, comments, motions?
I move that we approve the permission for demolition.
There's a
Second.
second from Daniel. One point of question I had, David, and that is, do we own the property now? Or we mean in the village?
No, we do not. The property is still under the name of the deceased who used to live at the property. It is the mortgage and taxes are being paid by a company called Loan Care. We've been in communication with them in an attempt to get them to remedy the violations at the property, and then ultimately with this order of demolition. And they've indicated to us that they are seeking to continue to actually demolish the property, but we've seen no applications for a building permit to that effect. And ultimately, we being the village and the solicitor are anticipating that the village itself will ultimately have to perform the demolition.
And if that's the case, then the village will have a lien on the property. Once it sells, we collect the money.
That's correct.
And the property was way over financed. The mortgage on it was very, very high.
Yeah. All right. All right. Is there anybody in the audience wishes to address this application? Members of the commission, we have a motion to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, David. Let's move on
Let
to
the
the,
record show that I did vote in favor of that because it's not a, is this an appropriateness?
It is.
matter? Okay, it is. Well, then I rescind that vote and I'm continue to abstain.
okay. All right, very good. Moving on to the next request, that's Robert Ramsey, 174 West Sharon and 3 Annandale for a lot split. Is Mr. Ramsey available? Sir, if you would just say as little as much as you need to. We've seen the application,
Okay,
so we're familiar with at least the design. You
okay,
might want to explain which parts are going where and so forth.
Yeah.
okay. The neighbor behind me, which is Bill Lott, he owns 174 West Sharon. He has actually, we found out it's actually 2 lots of his property, and mine's butts up against his. And when I first met him, he said, "You want to buy some of it?" You know, because I asked him where the actual line was. He said he wasn't 100% sure. He said, "But if you want to buy some, let me know." So I told him, you know, we were remodeling our kitchen. After we get that done, then we'll talk to you. So early part of this year, we spoke about, you know, him selling some of his property. My wife, I only wanted a little bit. My wife wanted more. And eventually, you know, we settled on how far we wanted to go. And I went and talked to Bill, and Bill said, that's fine. And then we hired a surveyor to come out, do the survey. So he parceled it off, the split, and did a plat. And then he did a 77B, which means it's not usable property for anything but just cutting grass or something like that. My wife wants to put a garden back there.
Okay.
So that's what the application is for. It's just for approval to move forward, to make the purchase. And I'm gonna put a fence in it, but I'm doing a corral fence. So we're still able to see each other and, you know, just so we know where it is. And then my wife can start her garden next
Okay.
spring.
So you live on Annandale. and
I live on Annandale.
You're
Annandale.
increasing your backyard by taking some of their backyard.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. And that's the 0.1406 acres, the top of this drawing? It must be. I mean, that's the only
yeah.
part that's next to your property. So,
Right.
all right.
And the rest of it stays with his property.
The rest stays
even
with his
though
property.
it has 2 different names on the
Yes.
parcels.
And then I have a realtor, real estate attorney who will take the plat and the declaration from the surveyor, and he
combine
will
your-
file it with the county and do all the paperwork and everything. I just gotta pay him the fee, and then it's taken care of.
And it will be combined with your lot, right?
Yes, it'll be
Yeah.
wrapped around in my lot. Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Is this in the historic district?
It is not, but
Okay.
lot
Okay.
splits do require planning commission approval.
So the fence part, you'll
Correct.
handle, okay.
Yeah.
It does have to be combined with your property. You can't keep it as a separate parcel.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fence permits would come through our office.
Mhm.
I move to approve as submitted.
Motion second. Is there anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I
Motion
believe
carries.
this is one that I can vote on.
I think it is, yeah. All right.
I've been wanting to do that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ramsey.
All right, thank you.
So
Next steps, David?
next steps, Mr. Bernstein, you'll come to the office, sign off on the plat,
Mhm.
and then I'll give you a call once that's ready, and you can take that down to the county, and
Okay.
then you can go through with your recording and consolidating.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
You do the same.
All right, moving on to the request of the Glendale Florist for awning replacement at 1133 Congress. Miss Louder,
Hello.
good evening. Good afternoon, rather.
So this is my old awning. It's sort of falling
Yeah.
apart. And they can't replace the canvas, so they propose to do more of this style.
Mhm.
And I just need permission to do that.
Looks fine.
Is there gonna be any like lettering or numbers?
No, it's
or
over the
anything?
back door, just so we
Okay.
have shelter while we're carrying stuff in.
What I saw in the drawing, it looked like if possible, you might want to extend it another foot or so because it doesn't completely cover the first step. Look at the drawing there. Maybe that's just not accurate,
I
but
think it might not be accurate because he said it would come out 4 feet and that would more than cover the first step.
Oh,
The picture was
to
just,
the left.
this picture was not our building. It's just what it would look like.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
And the dimensions was on the next page.
okay. Yeah, that was just a suggestion that you make sure it covers the steps so you don't slip
So
on
we
the
don't end
bottom
up with
step.
icy steps.
Yeah. You ready for a motion?
We are.
Okay, I move we accept the awning replacement as submitted.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And moving right along, the last request is that of Christ Church for directional sign at 965 Forest. Are you Tom Chester?
I certainly am.
Oh, welcome, Mr. Chester. We've all had a chance to look at the application.
Mhm.
So you can say as little or as much as you want about it, and we'll take it from there.
I'll say as little as you would like.
We'll cut you off when it gets too long.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you this afternoon. As you might guess, any church is that's doing well has a lot of visitors. And we have visitors, and our visitors get lost because we have no directional signage, no wayfinding signage. It's particularly difficult for people that are approaching the church, coming either on Sharon Avenue or Erie Avenue from the west, because there's nothing identifying the church until they're past the entrances to our parking lots. So that needs to be remedied, we think, for the aid of our visitors. Once a visitor arrives and finds that they identified the right church, which is also difficult to do because of poor signage. There's only one real sign, that's the one on Forest Avenue. But regardless, once they find that they're at the right church, then they have the task of finding a place to park. You can't see the parking lots from Forest Avenue, so that's a problem. Once they get parked, they don't know which door to go to or what's inside whatever door it is they're looking at. And so that, again, is another problem. I mentioned already, we have a lot of visitors. They come for the purposes of attending one of our services or a special event, a special service, such as a wedding or funeral, so that they're not familiar with the campus. We also get people coming for the various other special events that we put on, such as our monthly music program or seasonal music programs, or community events, community or civic events that are held on our property. So the proposal that you have seen is all for the benefit of our visitors, and these are also visitors to Glendale. So we would like to make things as easy for them as possible and to put Glendale in a good light as well. So that's the proposal. The signs, in case you're interested, they'll be of high quality, similar to the signs around the historic village square, the brown signs that are around the historic village square. They're cast aluminum.
I'm trying to picture what those signs are.
The I always call them the post office signs because they have the post office logo on them, just at the corner of Willow.
Directional signs that were installed.
Yeah.
I
Correct.
don't know how many years ago. I got you. Okay.
Right, that's the idea. These are, they won't corrode. They should hopefully last a very long time. We're not intending to change anything else, just to put up signage that'll be more or less permanent.
Mhm.
So that's the gist of the proposal.
So visible from the street will be two signs, one off Sharon, one off Forest. Is that
There's
correct?
6 signs, visible from the street.
Right.
There would be one off of Sharon, indicating the entrance to that parking lot, one off of Erie, indicating the entrance to the
Erie,
Erie
okay.
parking lot.
And the others are internal kind of
The others-
circulation?
Yes,
Okay. And I think we have the dimensions, so.
yes,
And there's no lighting on any of the signs?
no lighting, no.
Do these meet our current signage?
They do. They meet under 154.27. There's a section pertaining to religious signs under our current code that they are permitted without size restriction within residential districts on private property.
Okay. I think that it sounds nice. So.
I did too. I thought that was really good.
Anything else, members of the commission? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this application? All right, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve it, submitted.
I'll second it.
We have a motion second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you very
job.
much.
Appreciate the presentation. That concludes our action items for this afternoon. It's not even evening yet. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address the commission on other business? Members of the commission, any other business from you? Is there a motion?
There is. I move we adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.